Hello everybody, welcome to the part 2 of doing all the Ruby Girls redesigns. Today we are focusing on the girl of the video, Weiss Schnee. But before we get into her design and how I chose to redesign her design, I want to talk about when I was thinking these designs would take place in the show. Because when you make a design, you want to think about location, like where is this outfit being worn? And for these designs, I was thinking, let's go future. Well, not future. What kind of future? Let's go ongoing. Hopefully ongoing. I'm talking about volume 10, the volume that doesn't exist yet. So what are some things we know about volume 10? It's supposed to take place in Vale, and Vale is hot. So I want outfits that are not bulky and breathe. Also, protective enough for the terrain, because there's supposed to be sandstorms and monsters, and I want them to be ready to fight those monsters and kill those monsters. And it's a little hard to kill a bunch of monsters in a sandstorm in blaring heat when, you know, you're wearing 17,000 layers. I'm looking at you, Weiss. Let's talk about Weiss. Now, Weiss represents white in the red, white, black, yellow sort of color. Not a triage, because that's 3, but imagine if it was a triage with 4. A forage. Yeah. She starts off the story being like a pretty princess, super hoity-toity, but then, you know, learns what the real world is like. So I want to show that progression in her character in her costuming. A few ways I do that: she's represented by the element of ice. When ice melts, it becomes water. So I made her skirt and her little underneath the shoulder thing, I just draw them, I don't know what the names are. It's meant to emulate waves falling down, like a waterfall, or like waves crashing the beaches of a sea. Also, took away her little tiara. It's gonna be a controversial opinion, and I gave her a hair bow. Might be even more of a controversial opinion, but I don't care. I like it. It is something to put there instead of the bun and the tiara, and it goes with the bows theme. And if you don't have a big bow on your head, are you even doing cute stuff? Like, big bows on the head for the win. Let's step away from the head bow before someone tries to kill me. Let's move on to the bows that are around her shoulders. I have these little yellow bows here, and they're little birdies, they're little bird bows, because she's Snow White, and Snow White has all those animals that she, like, you know, uses to help her around the house. And I feel like the imagery of 2 little birdies pulling up her little, God, I really wish I knew what the name was, to keep it from falling. I think that's adorable. Plus the little birdie bows, there's one on each leg at the bottom there. Gotta keep those shoes laced up. And she has a little button right at her collarbone holding up one of the red gems as accent. If you didn't know, I got a bunch of red in the design by putting a bunch of red jewelry on her. Look at her, doesn't she look incredibly bougie? I really still wanted her to feel like she's that rich girl, but, like, you know, she's softening up because, well, she's happy her family is alive, but she's upset that her hometown, well, she's the reason it went under. So she's in mourning, basically. She's in mourning for the whole city of Atlas, and that's something she has to come to terms with. Of course, I kept up the ballerina aesthetic. I love ballerina aesthetic, ballerina core. Those shoes, point shoes, but heels and wrapped up like point shoes. And then her skirt, which is like a ballet skirt for practice, and it's 2 of them stuck on top of each other. Have you even layered anything before in your life? Plus the little wrap around her waist. You couldn't even spell cute if it was standing right in front of you, and it is. And it's a little embarrassing. I would go get your eyes checked, because this is adorableness. And from last week's video, I want to say I worked harder on the weapon. In this final image, you're going to see the weapon. You're going to be like, wow, you did such a good job picking that weapon. And I'm gonna be like, I know, don't look at the hands. This hand gets kind of cool. It used to be really bad, but this hand gets kind of lit. Don't look at the other hand. If you inspect the other hand too closely, you are clearly not my friend and always meant to be one of my enemies. So I just want you to know that. That is for certain. One clean hand away later. We want to talk about the accent color because the blacks in this come from her skirt and her heels. You see the reds in the jewelry, you see the yellows in the bands. Let's talk about this blue. I have put the tiniest little bit of blue as a gradient coming up from the tights. You'll see it even more in this final image here. And there is a tiny bit of blue mixed with that black in the skirt to make it like a little navy color. But it's like looks more bluish because it's see-through, but it's actually like it's more black than it is blue. And I bet I just blew. Yeah, moving on from that, what I really wanted to do was get back that season 1, that volume 1. Is it seasons or volumes? I feel like this thing does volumes. Okay, I'm gonna say volumes. Volume 1 bell-shaped ballerina silhouette back. I feel like I achieved that. I gave myself a pat on the back because I set out to do what I did. Why is there a button holding up a gem in the middle of her chest? And why is there a tiny little diamond cut out underneath that, underneath there? It's called layering. I think it looks cool. If you don't, that's perfectly fair. You're entitled to your own opinion. I still think it looks cool. Another thing I wanted to do was really draw attention to her limbs as she's fighting. Because, well, not as she's fighting, because God forbid I ever animate anything, but if she was, hypothetically, if this was the new look, you could see what she's doing so well. She does a kick, she does a turn, dress little turn, she's got those bracelets on. Basically, she's pretty trackable in a fight, which is very important when your characters fight as the main attention for your show. You may also notice that rWby had nail polish, Weiss had nail polish, and you guessed correctly, the other girls will also be sporting a fresh set of lacquer. Lacquer? Yeah, they're gonna be having some fun nail polish, because I just feel like it's fun. Like, it's such a waste there. You could put color there. If you put color there, that's another place to put color. That's what the color theory means to me. And speaking of color theory, I was really scared that for Weiss being the character of white, that she didn't have enough white on her, because like this dress is like very, very dark and there's a lot of it. It's almost like a reverse Blake problem where Blake was just in a very, very white coat, and I was like, gosh, what am I gonna do? So I'm like, well, what if we put this thick like white embroidery to, like, again, it mimics the waves, that's what it's meant to do, but it also adds like more white over it, so white is like allowed to overpower it and become like the main color of the design, you know, even though she's got that thick hair. I counted like 6, maybe 7 likes in that last one. That was pretty impressive. I'm gonna try not to do that anymore. I don't really have much more to say about the design because the design speaks for itself. But I want to talk more about the colors and rendering of the drawing that I am doing on screen. But that, we need to wait a little bit to get there, so let me leave you with some blissful, uninterrupted time with just the music and the drawing. And no more of my voice. Okay, see you when the colors start. Pranked ya. Did you get got? I can see the look on your face. Do not turn around. You will be horrified. Okay, so I wanted to touch base on my sort of history with the show. I have watched the show since the beginning, since the very one. I've been in high school and I have made my own fair share of rWby OCs. I love the universe. And I want my hand in the pie. I want to do something rWby related. So this is what I am channeling my rWby energy into. I've always wanted to make like this, just like a YouTube video making rWby art, and I'm doing it. And I'm not only doing it once, not twice, but 4 times. I'm so excited. I gotta check off on my bucket list that I talked about rWby on the internet. It's crazy times. Well, I'll check it off on the last, when I get all the 4 things done, because that's when I'll be like, yeah, I said everything I have to say about Ruby. Also, I have 4 episodes to talk about it, so why would I talk about Ruby in this one? I'll probably talk about, like, the stuff about the story and, like, how I feel about the show in Blake's episode. And then in Yang's episode, I don't know, I'll draw a motorcycle. That'll be fun. I'll draw Yang going on her Bumblebee motorcycle. Also, really? Naming the motorcycle Bumblebee? We'll talk about that in the Blake episode. Best believe we will talk about that in the Blake episode. It's so interesting because when I see Ruby content online, it's so polarizing because you got the big hate and then you got the big love, and then, you know, you can really tell that people are passionate about this show. I'm pretty passionate about it. I'm people and I get it. But at the end of the day, it comes down to being respectful and treating people like the people that they present the people to be. And look what's happening on screen. Wouldn't you know it? Is that me coloring in that amazingly shaped dress? I did that. Do you see how that flows? You can tell that it's a skirt on top of a skirt, and it is skirting the house down boots, mama. And also the way that she's wearing those white tights that go into the sock and this like around the neck bodysuit. Perfection in a glass. Okay, I guess I'll talk about how I'm coloring here. I like to start off with a base color, and I'll usually make that the skin, but since I'm working with so many very light colors, it's very difficult to tell where I've put this shade of white when the skin color is already so peachy white. It becomes a problem very quickly. So just make it this weird color blue. Now I can see exactly where I'm putting down all 4 of my shades of white. Just kidding. It's only, I think, 2? Damn. Okay. For the shape language in this design, you have the sharp edges of the diamonds in her jewelry, but you also have the soft circles in the beads around her wrist. I wanted her to look like she'd be very fun to watch move. Her outfit flows, everything has a little bit of a sway to it, like the crystal diamond kind of thingy, like on top of her collarbone. That isn't like stitched down, it's like stitched down at the top, but it can still like move like how her earrings move. Everything sort of has a give and take in here. It's very flowy because she turns. She's a ballerina. She turns, she hits, she strikes, she dashes. Her hair flows everywhere. Her dress flows everywhere. And I want her jewelry to sort of like shimmy. And I think that would just be exactly what she needs to get even more motion out of her character design. I stare at these redesigns like a lot because I'm just so happy with them. It's very rare that I get to be happy with the design, so these designs probably suck because I don't feel the need to improve them. I feel so conflicted here. Like, I really like them, but I'm clearly missing something. These can get better. I know they can get better, but I don't know. Leave your critiques in the comment section below. Let me know how I can be doing better. I love to take critique. Okay, I figured it out. More bows. If I just added like more bows to this design, maybe a bow on the back, I don't know, maybe even more, like 4 hair bows. Yes, now we're talking. That's the critique I was looking for. The more I analyze the designs, the more I start to realize how nostalgic they feel for the beginning volumes, because Ruby and Weiss have very similar silhouettes to the ones that they started with their combat skirts. And I like that. And then you have Blake and Yang, who also have very similar silhouettes because they're wearing pants. It's just, I'm sure there's an observation to be made here, but I don't know, I don't birdwatch. But what I do watch is the way that I'm shading this stuff in. Look at that. When I do the face, I like to do like a blending shade, and then when I like get to the rest of the body, I like to do more of a cell shaded look. I feel like when you look at the face, you want it to feel the softest, and when every other shadow looks so hard, it makes the face look even softer. There I go, adding that blue to the tights. Do it get better? Make the blue better. Make the blue better? Does the blue get better? Do I hate the blue? Am I just finding out that I hate the blue now? Oh no, no, no. I like the blue. The blue's great. Tell yourself you love it until you hate it. No, I don't like the blue. There's something wrong. Do I fix the blue? There's no way I don't fix the blue. Maybe it's the background. I guarantee it's the background that makes this look bad. I love the way I did that skirt. That skirt is really, really good. And I'm not just saying that to cope with the fact that the blue doesn't look great with this background. But it's okay, because this isn't even the final background. Look how freaking good that rendering does. And now, for a moment of calm and serenity, I will be doing Weiss's semblance in my art style. Behold. Ta-da! If you're watching up until this point, I want to say thank you for watching. We're halfway done. We've got 2 more girls to get through. But I'm very excited to keep showing these with you guys. I hope that made sense. Okay, anyway, bye!